Zelda's always been a fan favorite of Smash, and with new design and Ultimate, along with a few changed moves, there's been a lot of hype going into this character. Her plain damage, knockback, and extremely unique special moves, along with her charm, bring quite the crowds. And despite having some obvious clear weaknesses, this has got to be the best version of Zelda we've got yet.
Zelda has never been great in Smash Bros. Historically. In Melee she was almost never played, in Brawl this trend kind of continued, and while she initially got a little bit of hype in Smash 4, that kind of died down too over time. Overall, we've seen that it's pretty hard to make a character that is good, that is based off of very precise sweet spots, and overall a very slow neutral, which Zelda has both. In Ultimate, Zelda got a ton of buffs, and from what I've seen from many top players, the general consensus is that she isn't one of the very worst characters in the game anymore. Now of course she still didn't fly from the very worst character to the very best, but she is genuinely usable in Ultimate, and this puts a lot of her powerful kill moves to use, something that you really couldn't say too much previously. I love that she finally has a fighting chance in Ultimate, and I really can't wait to see what people can pull off with her as time goes on and as the Zelda meta evolves.
If you want more feature information on Zelda, hit subscribe as I'll be giving any updated information on her, and of course, every other character in Smash Ultimate to boot, along with a more advanced Zelda guide as time goes on. Anyways, here I'm going to be going over the most important parts / the best parts about the character. Now I won't be mentioning every single part of the character's frame data, but that's going to be linked down in the description below if you want to read up on it. Anyways, as I mentioned, Zelda got a ton of buffs, most of the biggest ones being to her specials, but also quite a few nice tweaks in other places as well. In general, she's going to stay quite defensive and definitely can't just throw out attacks willy-nilly, but she has a lot more potential options now. The first great option she has now is her jab. Now, Zelda's jab went from, in the last game, an 11 frame startup jab to, in this game, a 4 frame. And it also got a multi-hit ender. Now this is great because it allows Zelda to use her jab like everybody else, and it's just way faster now, giving a good close range option to her character that didn't really have one before. And overall just makes her ground game, in general, work quite a bit better. In addition, her forward tilt got a little bit more damage and knockback, but it did get a little bit less safe, which is unfortunate, but you know, we take those. And as well, her down tilt is faster, but it combos a little bit less, which is also just kind of alright. Overall, her tilts do their job at spacing people out and netting stocks, but she's not really changed way too much here, which is alright. Moving on to plain out buffs, Zelda got even more ways to kill earlier than ever. Now Zelda's always had some of the most powerful attacks in the entire game, and while they can be sometimes a little bit hard to hit, they will kill really early, and now she has even more. Her dash attack is a really good example of this, killing at a very reasonable percent now when it used to not really ever kill. As well, her forward smash and up smash kill a lot earlier than ever, and her forward air and back air also kill earlier now, which already killed really early, so that's kind of ridiculous. All this adds up to a character that can consistently end stocks if she lands a straight hit near 80%, and while it might be hard for her to get that 80%, yeah, she won't have a hard time actually ending a kill. Speaking of Zelda's aerials, like everybody else, they got a lot less landing lag, which is great as she had some of the worst landing lag and end lag beforehand. Now, this makes them a little bit more safe on shield, which is great, but they still aren't that safe, which is a little unfortunate. Overall, I kind of wish that Zelda got something like a different forward air or a different back air to allow her to approach or really do anything without having to send out a Falcon Knee, but at least getting this gives Zelda a few more offensive options and makes her a little bit safer. Continuing on the hype train, her up throw and back throw are now both great kill throws. In general, a lot of up throws got nerfed in Ultimate, so seeing this one kill really early is awesome, and as well, having a back throw that is just so great means that when Zelda grabs you near 140% or sometimes even earlier, you're probably just going to straight up die. Now this is great as it gives her just a lot of pressure to stop people from shielding all of her attacks all the time, and I really wish that she just had a normal grab that wasn't so slow so that it would help her apply a little bit of pressure on shield. But whatever. Now I also want to mention that her up throw and down throw can combo into things like up air, nair, and back air, but you probably shouldn't be using these way too much because grab is quite unsafe, and you don't really want to be using that at lower percents too much, otherwise you can be punished quite a bit. Finally, to her special moves, these things got a lot of help. To start off, her neutral B, which was already one of her saving graces in the last game, starts up even faster, and as well has longer lasting intangibility, which makes so that you can't be hit during it. This allows for the move not to just reflect projectiles, but also be used in the middle of your opponent's strings in order to break them as a combo breaker, or simply put, to just stuff an opponent's approach and tack on a good amount of damage while also applying a lot of stage pressure for yourself. Her up B, Fair's Wind, also got some help, having the teleport stun up faster and being easier to hit your opponent to end a stock with this. Unfortunately, it does go a bit less far now, but I'm going to say that's kind of a alright trade. Side B, Din's Fire, also got some help. The move can now be aimed a lot easier, it's larger, and can be used in the air without going into free fall yourself. Now this move is overall pretty good for edge guarding, and while it still isn't that useful in most other situations, it can at least go through other projectiles and stop campers doing that, so that's nice. Finally, Zelda got a huge rework on her down B, the Phantom. Now the Phantom can be charged in 6 different ways, but all you really need to know is that the longer you charge it, the more knockback it does, generally. Once it's fully charged, you can run around and do whatever you want until it attacks by itself automatically, and that's really good, because it allows you to use this as a tool that can either force people off you while also applying a lot of pressure, or go in with the Phantom for a really good offensive push. This thing gives a lot of great setup potential to Zelda, and should be one of the most used things that, when you aren't doing anything else, you should be using this, especially when people aren't close up and attacking you. As funny as it sounds, if I had to say one main thing that comes to mind when I'm talking about Zelda, it's that she can kill. She has 4 sweet spot killing aerials, 2 strong smash attacks, 2 kill throws, a forward tilt, and a phantom. Yes, a lot of these moves are hard to hit and even hard to get out, but in general, the killing part isn't that hard as long as Zelda is given the chance. The real hard part is winning neutral enough to the point where you can actually get these kills, as a lot of her moves are slow, small, and have sweet spots that are really hard to hit if your opponent isn't just standing around or they aren't just huge characters. Now, if you can hit them, that's great, but a lot of the times it will be a pain just trying to rack up damage safely and easily compared to somebody like Lucina. I should also mention here that Zelda herself isn't horrible at racking up damage. She has a good amount of combos off of up tilt and down tilt, and as well grab, mainly turn air, but even going for those isn't really honestly that safe. If she hits a move, she will get a lot of reward, but it also takes a lot of risk to throw out really anything she has, overall making her a high risk, high reward type character that, at least in my eyes, has to play like that. Sometimes the risk really does outweigh the reward though, and I'm gonna say that honestly can be her major downfall. I should also mention that Zelda is pretty darn slow. Now, she isn't the slowest, but getting into the right position can be quite difficult. A lot of the time, you'll need to carve open a good situation for yourself, and with Zelda, that's going to be essentially done by good spacing and good positioning, or with a really good Phantom. Now, I'm going to say that Phantom really helps in times like this, as it covers a large portion of the ground and either forces a shield or a jump, both which things you can cover if you're timing it right. Seeing what your opponent does versus a Phantom is of top importance, as if you see that they keep jumping over the Phantom, you can hard punish that with a fair or a back air, or maybe even an up air, while if they shield, well, you got yourself a consistent grab setup. As Zelda, you need to often predict where the opponent will be, and then punish it even before they get there, and Phantom can oftentimes help with that. Zelda's other specials also help her out a lot, mainly by giving her some good close range burst options, which she doesn't really otherwise have too much of. Her neutral B is great as a get out of jail free card, and as long as you don't overuse it and get hard punished for missing it, it can be extremely clutch in racking up damage and getting stage control. A similar use applies to her up B, but to a more extreme level. This thing is fast and leads to a kill, but as well, if you happen to miss your attacking enemy, you might be in trouble. Overall, Zelda plays really defensive, and having specials that can really help with this, that can just put people out of their commission when they're going on the offense, is quite useful for this character. Finally, I'll say that Zelda has to focus a lot on spacing, more than just about anybody else. She has to hit her sweet spots a lot. She has to keep out of range of most of the attacks that your opponent's going for, and then drift in to punish them, which is really hard as she is so slow and has so small hitboxes. She really does put a key focus on micro spacing like this, and while this is honestly going to be extremely hard to pull off, if you can do it correctly, and if you can keep baiting your opponent and keep punishing them like this, you can get a lot of reward for any spacing that you can do. If there were to be one thing I would focus on learning how to do as Zelda, it would be to learn how to stuff out approaches. Zelda's a character that can put out great damage if given the time or space to set up, mainly with her Phantom, but oftentimes you won't get that out of nowhere. People will run up to you and attack you, and that's when it gets really hard as her. Honestly, I'd practice getting out of these bad situations as much as possible against real players by allowing them to get in and then punishing them, or even against bots in some situations, with a mixture of neutral B, up B, spot dodge, and jab. All these options are fast and have different timing and can really mess up your opponent if you can master them. Mastering your defense will be a great pain to actually learn how to do as Zelda, but if you learn how to do it, it'll be a pain for your opponent to play versus you, and as well give you a lot of time to set up for your Phantom, or just overall relieve pressure for yourself by giving yourself a lot more stage control. Finally, I'd recommend learning wave bouncing your down B as demonstrated by my smash corner in the video linked down below. Now this tech allows Zelda to actually summon the Phantom in front of her instead of behind her, allowing for it to actually tank some hits and stop projectiles from interrupting Zelda from charging your Phantom. I think this tech will someday be seen as essentially necessary for every Zelda player to learn, so definitely put some time into learning it and check that out down below.
And there you guys go, all the reasons why you should be maining Zelda. Now, if you have a certain character you want me to cover next, comment down below. hashtag that character name YOU Should Main or WYSM, and hit that subscribe button / notification bell to actually see that video when it comes out. As well, if you want to, tell me what your favorite part about Zelda is, I'd really like to hear that down below. So comment that down below, and whatever's the most interesting, I'll make sure to give a heart. As well, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Check this current now as a card for a playlist of more Smash Ultimate videos like this. And as always, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, guys, have a smashing day.